Hey everyone, and welcome to Ricky's Rockin' Reviews. I just obtained one of the best hauls that I have in a while, and it might be the best of the year. I got a total of 12 books from the book sale at my library, and for a total of $25.98. So it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna beat that this year. But starting off, I got A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. This is a memoir from his time in Paris in the 1920s, and it looks really cool. I've really been wanting to do a deep dive into Ernest Hemingway, and I'm just trying to get as much books as I can of his before I start my deep dive. And this haul is really helping me with that. I got A Farewell to Arms as well by Ernest Hemingway. So this story looks very intriguing. It's about an ambulance driver, an American ambulance driver in the Italian front of the World War One, and he is like enamored with this English nurse. So that's at the heart of this story. Next, I got The Old Man and the Sea. This is a classic. So this one is about a Cuban fisherman, and he is just like determined to get this marlin in the Gulf Sea. Up next, I got The Complete Stories of Flannery O'Connor. Look at how chunky that is. Oh man, it's just got so many stories in here. I'm a big fan of Flannery O'Connor. I have her collected books in the Library of America edition of her work. And so with this edition, I have all of her work, I believe. So I'm just really excited to be able to find time to read this one as well. Maybe I can find another author short stories, maybe like Raymond Carver or something, and just like oscillate between the two. I think that would be cool. So up next we have Beasts of the Earth by James Wade, and I'm not familiar with his work, but I'm not gonna lie, it's the cover and the build of the book that really attracted me to it. And it looks really, really interesting. There's people praising him on the back, saying reminiscent of early McCarthy, Larry Brown, or the great Tom Franklin. James Wade has all the tools, imagination, and more than enough passion to be at the vanguard of the best grit-lit writers of his generation. And I'll be reading whatever he puts out, says Matt Bondurant. And for this one, I'm just going to straight up read the blurb. I think it sounds really interesting. Beast of the Earth tells the story of Harlan LeBlanc, a dependable if quiet employee of the Carter Hills High School grounds department, whose carefully maintained routine is overthrown by an act of violence. As the town searches for answers, LeBlanc strikes out on his own to exonerate a friend while drawing the eye of the law to himself and fending off unwelcome voices that call for a sterner form of justice. 20 years earlier, young Michael Fisher dreads the return of his father from prison. He spends his days stealing from trap lines in the Louisiana bayou to feed his fanatically religious mother and his cherished younger sister, Doreen. When his father eventually returns, an evil arrives in Michael's life that sends him running from everything he has ever known. He is rescued by a dying poet and his lover who extract from him a promise to be a good man, whatever they may require. The story intertwines these stories, exploring themes of time, fate, and free will to produce a revelatory conclusion that is both beautiful and heartbreaking. So that sounds right up my alley. Grit lit, so cool. Grit lit, like it was described. I just want to get in there. I just want to feel that stuff. So I got that. And I've been looking forward to acquiring this book, The Consultant by Bentley Little. I actually heard about this novel before the Amazon Prime series starring Christoph Waltz, which I haven't looked too much into because I just really want to read this. And the premise is so cool. It's about this consultant that's brought in to this company, and he's supposed to kind of clean house, but his definition of clean house is maybe a little bit murderous and mysterious as well. So I can't wait to get into this one. Bentley Little, big fan of his. He writes so many horror books. I think he releases at least like one a year. He's very reclusive. I don't think he has many interviews, if any at all. And I'm just a fan of his. I have a couple of his mass paperbacks on my shelf behind me, and I was so glad to find this for such a cheap price. Up next is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and this one has been covered a lot. It's about like some kind of plague that strikes and how people in the arts kind of keep the art alive, and what does that say about humanity and their need to express themselves and to tell these stories. And of course there's going to be drama in there as well, I believe. So this has been praised really highly, and if anything, it's become an instant classic. I think it's only been published, fairly recently, and I think it's here to stay. I think this is going to be one that people talk about just by the way that I hear other people talking about it right now. I think it's going to stand the test of time. So I can't wait to read that. I think that's a really interesting angle. Up next, I got The Wonder of All Things. This is a story by Jason Mott, and I hadn't heard about this one before I picked it up, but it sounded really interesting. Plus it has these freckled edges over here, which is so cool. I just love that texture. It's about this girl, and she has these healing powers that are discovered after some plane crash, and she's able to heal somebody. That crash has drawn a crowd, and now everyone knows her secret about what she can do. And this story tells about what happens if people are aware of someone who can heal them, and how they come after her. And of course there's these people that are in need, that are sick and need help. Now what makes the book extra interesting, of course, besides the parents trying to protect her, I'm assuming that's what's going to happen here, but she also gets weaker as she heals people. So there is this fine line between how many people she can actually really help, and are they worth helping. That sounds really interesting. So I nabbed that one up. Up next, I have The Silent Patient, and this is just a straight up mystery. So this woman, one night when her husband comes home, she shoots him 5 times in the face. And when she gets brought in for questioning and everything, from that point on, she does not speak. So she is put away in a psychiatric unit in London, and the story is about a criminal psychologist who comes in and tries to break through. And I just think that's a really interesting premise. My sister read this one, so she said it was really good too. So got that one. I also got the 50th anniversary edition of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. Clifford Lee Sargent went over this book on his channel, Better Than Food. He made this book sound like a real trip, so I can't wait to read it. It's supposed to be like a strange journey laced with drugs and all kinds of wild stuff. So there's not much to say about this one. I just kind of have to read it. So that sounds really interesting. And last but not least, I got The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I heard of so many good things about this, and it looks like it's going to be a slow burn, which is just the kind of thing that I love. And everyone's praising the way she told the story and her prose and just the way she structured everything. So I'm really excited, and I'm glad that I got a really nice copy. It's beautiful, nice hardcover. And so I got all this stuff for $25.98. So like I said, all this for $25.98. So I have a lot of reading to do. Like and subscribe, and I'll be posting more videos about everything I'm reading and just interesting ideas that I have, and of course hauls, comic books, all kinds of stuff like that. So thanks for watching.